I'm not sure what to call this video, except I know if people do this in your life, or people you're going to work with do this, avoid them. So it'll probably be called, if people do this, don't work with them. It's called demand clustering. And I'm going to break this down. Have you ever gotten a reasonable demand from someone and you thought, well, maybe you're a people pleaser, maybe you really want to go out of your way to help people, and that's good, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. If you want to be accommodating to other people, that's awesome. I love doing that. Like, especially on my feature film or my films, I want to be there for others, to show up and help others. And if somebody asks for something and sounds reasonable, yeah, I'm going to try to help them. But before you know it, it sneaks up on you. That one reasonable demand leads to two. And then both those reasonable demands, for some reason, they cause several other instances of things that you got to do. They add things to your plate. And together, in such close proximity, they become... They create more stress, because there's less of a time, like, especially if there's a timeline, there's a deadline for both of them. And then they add a third thing and a fourth, and they just keep. But then it's like, all right, normally, if I was in their shoes, I'd be very strategic with all the requests I ask of someone, especially if they're somebody making a feature film or making a short film or whatever. Like, you're making a film, there's a lot of stress involved, you're managing and accommodating other people. And yes, it's your responsibility. But I think, as somebody who's going to work with me, I would take it in your shoes as my responsibility to not bear so much weight on someone. Like, you need to realize, even if the other person that you're working for doesn't have like 10 other people at least that they have to accommodate to, just like you, which they do, even if they didn't, and you're asking them to do a lot of things that, even if they weren't accommodating other people, they would be a lot, even for just you. You got to realize that you're kind of putting them in a weird spot. And I think people will often do this if they don't care. If someone is asking a lot and making a lot of demands that are reasonable, they're clustering demands, demand clustering. If they're doing that, it's because they don't care. They don't care if they lose this opportunity. They don't care about working with you. Now, I could be wrong about that. Sure, there's instances where they do care. But if I care the way that I would want my people to work with me care, when I care, I'm very careful about asking too many requests. I'm very careful about, putting somebody in a really difficult spot. I care about how I affect the person who I'm working with or working for me. I care about, am I asking way too much? I care if I'm, being annoying. Like, and if you're asking somebody to, go under the gun of like there's an instance where like sometimes it's somebody will ask something and they don't realize the level of stress and like difficulty that the first request will bring you, and then on top of that they heap on a bunch of other ones, and before you know it, when you're in that position where you're trying to be accommodating and they're asking all these things, and you kind of feel like you feel in a way like if you don't do this for the person, you're inconveniencing them. You're putting the person you're working for in a weird place where they really feel like if they don't do the thing that you are asking, or the things that you're asking, and they're reasonable requests, so why would you be asking about it to begin with? If you're asking these things, and they're going to feel like, hey, if I don't do this, this person might not want to work with me, or I'm going to be putting them in a difficult spot. There's no reason why they wouldn't ask for this if it wasn't important. If you're asking for all these reasonable requests, chances are it's important to you. You care about that more than you care about making my life miserable as like you're somebody who's working with you. Which, that's valid. That happens. But if you care more about your cluster of requests and demands, reasonable as they may be, that you don't care how much that's impacting my life and the life of others around on the project, and it does affect other people. You know, I might have to rush casting for someone just to shoot a scene, and I have to rush to find a location and put a bunch of people under the spotlight, including myself, about like, hey, I need this location. Can somebody help me? You know, if I'm under the gun finding a location by a certain date, that's really difficult. And that's also difficult on other people. It's a strain on me and others, because like I then have to like rush casting and rehearsal with someone else who I don't want to do that to, and also finding locations. So I'm hounding my friends for locations. These are things that I have to do. But then, like, you know this. If you're watching, like, this is, I don't even have to explain this. Like, I don't, and the thing is, I don't explain this to the person. If it's not obvious to you that you're putting a lot of work on my plate, if it is obvious to you or isn't obvious to you, either way, that's a problem. You're revealing that you don't know how things work. I'm sure you know this is how it works. I don't want to have this conversation with you. I don't want to belittle anyone. I don't want to even get close to that. I don't even want to risk that. And if you're asking for so many things that are reasonable, and it's like, it just puts me in a position like this, it's like, what am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to, you know, like, this is a project that's like, there's a lot at stake. It's going to be something that messes up my life if it doesn't go well. And that's fine. I accept that risk, but I don't accept the risk of working with somebody who doesn't care about that. There's people who I get to work with who I'm super blessed to work with, who they understand the weight of making a film. They understand the weight that I have to carry. There's some people that just don't care. They care about their own requests. And frankly, they get the reputation of being a diva. They get the reputation of being like whatever you want to call it. Like, and I'm not, you know, like, I'm not trying to say that, but it just, there's a reason why people have that reputation. And it's unfortunate. Like, there's some people who I've really wanted to work with who suddenly they just demand cluster a bunch of things. And, you know, I have to make this split-second decision of like, all right, we're about to shoot this thing. This is really important to me. If this doesn't go well, my life is in the toilet for the next few months or next half year or year. This could ruin my life. Now, the feature film, yes. Short films, it would have pushed my life back. And honestly, I've had a situation when I was short film. If I didn't go make this film, I wouldn't be going back to church. That's so important to me. My life would be very different if that got pushed back. If this person went ahead and worked with me, it would have derailed my life. And I had no idea. And it was a blessing from God that I fired them. And you know, I forgive them because they don't know. I didn't even know. But I got lucky. I fired them. I got rid of them. I got a replacement from somebody who was humble and grateful for the opportunity and really wanted to work with me again. That's who you work with. Like, I'm going to tell you, man, if you have the opportunity to choose who you work with, like if you're hiring people for your film, say, like if I'm writing a film, directing a film, making a film, I'm going to hire people, actors especially, first, and crew members too, who it's based on their character. It's somebody who I enjoy talking to, who I can be friends with. If I can get you to have dinner with me and we get to talk about like all things in life and be friends, like if I can, you know, get people to show up for me outside of the film and like enjoy their time to get to with them and getting to know them. Like, that's where I'm at now. It's like I have all these actors who like I'm able to just meet them and like talk to them and like enjoy their company, and like that's who I'm getting to work with on this film, and that's who you should prioritize hiring if you're making a film. And that takes a long time of searching and finding those people. It takes a long time to have the instinct to know who those people are, because I meet some people who they work with what's called set cancer. And they will hire, for some reason, they have the worst luck with hiring directors of photography. You know, I don't know what it is about being a director of photography. I know what it is. It's the ego of, oh, I get to hold the camera and control the lighting, and I'm basically the person making the film. That's how a lot of directors of photography think about it. I've worked with directors of photography like that who tell you, hey, I would be okay with shooting this script. I'm not going to have fun with it. I'm not going to like it, but I will. And you then find yourself, because you're inexperienced, changing your whole vision to what they want to make, just because you feel like they're in their words, 20 years ahead of you, and you find out in 4 years later that actually you're 10 years ahead of them, and within 4 years, but you then cost yourself 5 years because you sold your soul to write what they wanted and not what you were passionate about. Like that's something you learn as a writer director. Like that there are directors of photography that will sense when you are inexperienced, and instead of guiding you gently towards your vision, they will then tell you, hey, let's do my vision. Let's tell the story, the version of the story that I want to do. Or let's change your vision because I'm too lazy to do it the way you wanted, because I don't want to do my job right. I'm sorry, I am getting so animated about this because this is something real that you have to deal with. And frankly, man, I love filmmaking, dude. But yeah, no, the best thing to do to avoid set cancer is to realize as quickly as possible if someone really cares about you, your vision, and your voice. And cares about how much they put on your plate. If somebody's putting a lot on your plate and so much, even if it's reasonable demands, so much so that you start feeling like you're losing sense in your body because you're so stressed out trying to accommodate them while you're accommodating others, realize the source of the stress is probably them. If you can find the source of the stress, who's causing the most stress in your life, and consider, hey, if I were to just replace this one person, how would I feel? If that feels like a weight lifted off of you, fire them immediately. You might be halfway through shooting, so you might not be able to do that. But if you're early enough in the process and you think you're probably you'd rather just fire them then and reshoot the stuff that you have to with them. I haven't had to do that, luckily. But you'd probably just do that early on in the process rather than get to the end and then not get the whole film done and then they quit or whatever. You know what? Just dodge bullets, man. Don't even take the bullet. Don't take the bullet. Dodge it. That's a good video. That's a good title. I like that. Don't take the bullet. Dodge it. But yeah, no, dude. Notice when people demand cluster. That's a huge red flag, and you will feel it. You will feel yourself losing your voice. You will feel yourself like physically and literally, where you don't feel like you can tell this person what they're doing to you is wrong. If you don't feel like you can have that conversation with somebody, it might be, and you're somebody who's like willing to have tough conversations. If you don't feel like you can have that conversation, you're willing to have tough conversations with people on average, you probably need to fire them. Like, it's probably because okay, this person is not going to take this well. I've been in this place before with someone before and it did not go well. Maybe you can talk to them, but there's still a chance that, like, if they got to this place, maybe they're going to keep doing it. And it's a tough call. That's something you got to figure out. You don't really know, it's on you. It's up to you. You got to figure that out. Pray on it. But notice people who demand cluster, because if you don't, you might end up with white hair in your beard. Now, actually, this doesn't come from that, but I did lose my voice literally from this, and more than one occasion. Love filmmaking, guys. I hope this was helpful. If you have any requests or things that I can do to serve you in some way, things you need help with, leave a comment, or if you want it to be private, just between you and me, shoot an email to askthomasprophet with 2 F's and 2 T's and prophet @gmail.com, and I will get a response to you. If you want it to be a video request, leave it in the comments or on that email, and then like, comment, subscribe to help support the channel. I appreciate you watching. I hope this video was helpful, and just avoid people who demand cluster. No, you don't have to torture yourself for someone if you're willing to find and able to find people who don't want to put weight on you that doesn't belong there. That's what you need to find. People who understand the weight you're carrying and don't want to put you through more of it. Hope this video is helpful. Prayers you have a great rest of your day, and love you. Bye.